Evil is rampaging right now. It is beyond anything that I have ever seen anywhere in my life. And if you think it's going to stay put, if you think it's not going to grow, if you think this is as bad as it could get, you are sadly mistaken. And when our government says, you know what, next week we're going to go with Iran, we're not going to go with Israel, we're not going to go with common sense, we're going to allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. When their mullahs and their clerics and the Ayatollah has said, it is time to stop just speaking words. It is time to put our words into action with the great Satan and the little Satan. If you think that this is going to stay the way it is, you're sadly mistaken. If you think that all of our streets and all of our policemen, all of our towns aren't going to see protesters and more killings, if you think this is just going to be relegated to the Baltimores and the Fergusons of the world, you're sadly mistaken. If you think that this is as hard as it gets with the attacks on Christianity, and this is as hard as I've ever seen it, and standing up and saying that you're a Christian, if you think this is it, you're sadly mistaken. If you think our kids are in school right now, and this is as bad as it's going to get, this is as crazy as it's going to get, where boys who identify themselves as girls, no sex change, no nothing, they just identify themselves as girls, can now go into a girl's bathroom and turn a school completely upside down, and they have the right to do it, and all of the experts come out and say, how dare you even question his feelings? If you think this is as bad as it's going to get, you're sadly mistaken. We are a nation hell-bent on our own destruction. God's not going to punish us. I saw in the New York Post, Glenn Beck is again with his apocalyptic preaching. I'm not preaching to you, and I'm not apocalyptic. We are suicidal. And all I'm doing is telling you, you're going to be allowed to commit suicide. Nobody's going to punish us. God doesn't have to punish us. All he has to do is let us feel the full ramifications of what we're doing. If we don't stop right now, that bridge I've been talking to you about for 15 years, there's a bridge, it's out, we're on a highway going 70 miles an hour, we're passing all the exits. I'm telling you, the bridge is out, and if we don't stop right now and get out, and I'm not talking about, you want to talk about Donald Trump, you want to talk about Ted Cruz, you want to talk about Ben Carson, God help us with what kind of world are they going to walk into a year from now? What do you think this country is going to look like 18 months from now when they raise their hand? Do you remember how sane it now seems 18 months ago? Evil is counting on you doing nothing. Evil is counting on you hearing me rant and then moving on. Evil is counting on you hearing somebody like me or Bill O'Reilly or anybody else that is talking. And you listen to it and you go, damn right, that's right. And then you do nothing. Our jobs are secondary. What we do every day, you need to put this into perspective. What you do every day is just to put food on the table. Do that job. Do that job the best you can, but that's your secondary job. Every single generation has to stand up and fight for the freedom that God gave them. Fight for the freedom, not for my freedom, not for your freedom, but for the freedom of men and women who are currently being tortured. For the babies who are currently being slaughtered. For the mullahs who don't want any part of that kind of Islam. For the Jews who are going to be vaporized. Your job and everything your kids do in school and everything you think your world is based upon is secondary. Because our country is suicidal. And I'm here to tell you Black Lives Matter. That's a lie. And I don't care how politically incorrect it ever gets. All lives matter. Period. All lives matter.